welcome back to Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, with me, Sharaad, Kuttan. Now, here's what we want you to consider tonight. The cover of Tempo, an Indonesian magazine, has sparked some debate. If we can pull up the visual, what you'll see is that the cover of Tempo features an illustration of President Jokowi with a shadow of a long-nosed figure, much like Pinocchio. Now, there are some of those who saw this as a form of insult to the president. Sharaad, what do you see?
Well, I do see a complex message in it, because it wasn't a Jokowi with a long nose. You know, if you know the story, of course, in the fable, the young boy, when he tells a lie, his nose grows longer, and therefore this is the fable of Pinocchio, right? In this, it's not that Jokowi is Pinocchio, but that Jokowi is casting possibly, right? And what is at stake here? It's the issue of political promises, right? And so that's the headline. Front story of
Janji tinggal janji was the headline. So essentially to say that, a sort of to allude that the president has not kept up with his election promises.
So two big questions here. One is, should the powerful have a higher threshold of accepting criticism? And two, is a broken election promise actually a lie, or did it begin in a lie that I knew I couldn't in fact deliver this, but I'm going to put it down on my election manifesto all the same, knowing full well I can't deliver it.
Okay, that's going to be a tough one. Let's tackle the first one too. So how insulated should, the head of an executive, head of state, be to criticisms of all form, including caricature and satire? And my thinking is, the threshold should be very, very high. So the higher you are in office, the thicker the skin you should have, and the more you should be open to criticism of all forms.
Well, that's because, Melisa, you're a Democrat, right?
And a journalist.
And a journalist, and Democrats, and it's very important that you're a journalist too, and I'm a journalist, is that we need those to be accountable, to accept the burden of that, including at times, criticism that might be off point, or that might miss the mark, or that might insinuate more than actually is there. The issue for politicians is to explain and to demand a chance to clarify what they have. I think but to enact a law that protects the head of state or an executive or prime minister, whatever it is, from criticism is deeply anti-democratic. It will only lead to things being swept under the rug, and in fact have a chilling effect on the media. I think
the second point, the second question that you raised, Sharaad, is a little bit tricky, I would say. So is not fulfilling election promises considered lying? Now, for me, the answer is no, because the use of the word lying is problematic in a way that we don't know somebody's intentions. So it could be a manifesto is an expectation of promises to be fulfilled once in office. However, did you know that you were not able to fulfill those promises? We can never tell the intention of someone making those promises, so therefore calling it lying would be a bit of a problem for me.
It is, but perhaps we need to calibrate what we mean by lies, right? I mean, they're political lies. I mean, these are strategically placed demands on, say, the previous government. And I think that's something the manifesto does. It actually raises ups the ante on the incumbent by saying, we can do this that the previous government couldn't do that. I mean, and without a serious debate about, the conditions under which you would be able to deliver. I do think that it's actually fair to call it a lie.
Okay.
I think it's fair to call it a lie. I think it's important that politicians accept the moral responsibility of not being able to deliver. They can't fob it off by saying, well, the circumstances have changed. It might have, but and therefore I can't fulfill it, and be sanguine in that. They have to accept the moral responsibility.
They're going to pay for it for the next election.
Well, they might or might not, but but what's important is they don't haul people to court just because they've said you lied when you said you would be able to deliver so-and-so.
That is something for you to consider. I may not agree with Sharaad, but please think about this, whether you think not fulfilling election promises is considered lying. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you on this episode of Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, with me, Sharaad Kuttan. We will catch you same time tomorrow. See you then.